So how did Margaery Tyrell's marriage to Renly Baratheon come about? It's actually not a funny story, but it's a strange story. Actually, Marjorie was intended for somebody else, and I'll get onto that in a second. The other thing that's just odd is that when Renly was a young kid, he lived at Storm's End. He was with Stannis, and Storm's End was under siege by Mace Tyrell. Well, Mace Tyrell was having a feast outside whilst everyone else inside was starving. Renly survived that, and it's just ironic that that was his future father-in-law. Renly had a rough start in life, but I think maybe he was so young that it just didn't impact him as much as it could have. He lost his parents when he was really young, an infant. He grew up with his two older brothers. He saw a lot of stuff when he was a kid, but I think it was stuff that happened when he was so young that it kind of didn't really register with Renly. And it's why he comes across as like really jovial and kind of light-hearted. Like, Renly's a fun time. You wouldn't think that he had the start in life that he did, because it was a rough one. Now, when Robert became king, he gave Stannis Dragonstone and he gave Renly Storm's End. And it was at Storm's End that Loras Tyrell was a squire. And seemingly that's how he and Renly first met and how their relationship blossomed from there. Renly is still really young at this point. He's like 21 years old when we join the story. He's still very naive, he's still very green, very full of beans, very eager to prove himself, thinks he knows it all. Now, when Robert was still alive, Renly and Loras cooked up this plan for Robert to marry Margaery Tyrell. And that the whole idea was that he would set Cersei aside and he would marry Margaery because she bore a striking resemblance to Lyanna Stark, the girl that Robert was meant to marry, and he never got over her. And Renly even shows Ned Stark this like locket with a portrait of Margaery in, and is like, look, it looks a bit like Lyanna, right? Like, I think we can pull this off. And that is the initial plan. But then Robert dies, and then everything is thrown into chaos, and everyone is panicking and making moves. And Renly, even though he has an older brother in Stannis, he presses his claim. He says, I am the rightful king. He names Mace Tyrell as his hand of the king. He names Loras to his Rainbow Guard, and he marries Margaery and makes her his queen. We can't ignore the Loras factor in all of this. It had a big role to play. It might be the main reason for this. I mean, the Tyrells are always on the lookout for a move. They want to make a political chess move. They always want to climb the ladder. They're always looking for opportunities. And this was an opportunity, but it was also a risk, because on paper, Renly did not have a very strong claim. There were others, such as Stannis, who had a stronger claim to the Iron Throne. But together with the Tyrells, Renly had the biggest army in the War of the Five Kings. They thought, you know what? Fair enough, we may be a bit cheeky with this, and with an older brother being alive still, Renly does not have a proper claim, but maybe with the right number of men, we can just make it happen. Now, we know that not that long after the marriage to Margaery, Renly winds up dead, and the Tyrells had to be thinking, damn, did we back the wrong horse here? Like, have we messed up? But I said it yesterday, the Tyrells are the house with 9 lives. And then Littlefinger appears, and then this deal is arranged to bring the Tyrells in from the cold. They're no longer traitors to the crown. They are no longer outcasts. Now Joffrey will marry Margaery and it's all going to be okay. It's a political masterstroke. It's classic Tyrell. They were on the outs. They were married to a traitor in Renly, and now Margaery is Queen of the Seven Kingdoms herself. It couldn't have worked out any better for the Tyrells, and it makes me think that, yeah, they looked at Renly as a stepping stone. This wasn't a love match between Margaery and Renly, but there was something between Renly and Loras which seemed to be the motivation behind putting these two houses together in order to keep Loras and Renly in each other's company, in order for them to continue a clandestine relationship. This whole thing, it could have gone so badly wrong for the Tyrells. They could have been completely shunned, and they're not. And Margaery is queen, and then she marries the next brother and is still queen. It's just brilliant tradecraft on the part of House Tyrell. It's classic Tyrell.